Okay, so 8.6.2, solving rational equations. We just learned yesterday about rational functions, rational equations, and what they are. Today we're going to solve them. We're simply going to go through several examples to show you how to do this. We're going to start with 3x minus 2 over 5x minus 1 equals 3/4. This is a rational function because the top, 3x minus 2, is a polynomial, and the bottom, 5x minus 1, is a polynomial, and our rational function just happens to equal 3/4 in this case. So our goal now is to solve for x. What does x equal in this equation? Well, when we're solving rational functions, we solve them by cross multiplication. So we're going to take 4 times 3x minus 2, and we're going to set that equal to 3 times 5x minus 1. Now we go through and we solve it. So we distribute the 4, and we get 12x minus 8 equals, distribute the 3, get 15x minus 3. So if we move the negative 8 to the other side, it becomes positive 8, and we combine it with the negative 3. Negative 3 plus 8 is positive 5. Got my x there. So next we subtract the 15x over to the other side, and 12x minus 15x is negative 3x equals 5. And the last thing we do is divide both sides by negative 3. So x equals negative 5/3. And of course we know that we can plug our solution back into the original equation to check it and make sure it works. So we're going to multiply 1 times 2x minus 7, which is just 2x minus 7. And then we're going to multiply 3 times x minus 5. Which when we distribute the 3, we get 3x minus 15. Correct. So now we can add the 7 to both sides, so we're going to get 2x equals 3x, and negative 15 plus 7 is negative 8. So subtract 3x from both sides, so that'll leave us with negative 8 on the right side. 2x minus 3x is negative x. Finish up by dividing both sides by negative 1, and we get x equals 8. So to cross multiply, we're going to multiply 3 times x minus 1. We set that equal to 5 times x plus 3. Next we distribute the 3 and get 3x minus 3, and distribute the 5 and get 5x plus 15. Add 3 to both sides, and we get 3x equals 5x plus 18. Then subtract 5x from both sides, so 3x minus 5x is negative 2x equals 18. Finally divide by negative 2, get x equals negative 9. We're going to apply this solving of rational equations to a word problem. So this problem says, suppose you have 100 milliliters of a solution that is 30% acid and 70% water. How many milliliters of acid do you need to add to make a solution that is 60% acid? To make it 90% acid solution? Can it ever be 100% acid? Alright, so we need to create a rational equation before we can solve it. So let's take the given information. It says we have 100 milliliters of a solution, and it's 30% acid and 70% water. Now if we have 100 milliliters, and that's the entire solution, that's like 100%, right? If 30% of our 100% is acid, then that means we must have 30 milliliters of acid. So our percentage of acid is 30 milliliters out of 100 milliliters, which would equal our 0.3 or 30%. Now the question is, how much more acid would we have to add to the solution in order to make the percentage 60%? So we're going to take our 30 milliliters of acid and we're going to add some number of milliliters of acid. We don't know how much yet. But whenever we add that acid onto the acid that we already have, we're also adding that acid into the entire solution, right? So we're going to add that X into the 100 also. And we want this to equal 60%. So 0.6. So now we have a rational equation that we can solve for X, and X stands for the amount of acid to add. So we're going to cross multiply. The 0.6 is 0.6 over 1, of course. So when we cross multiply, we're going to have 0.6 times 100 plus X equals 1 times 30 plus X, which is just 30 plus X. Then we're going to distribute the 0.6. So 0.6 times 100 is 60. And then 0.6 times X is 0.6X. That still equals 30 plus X. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides of the equation. So 60 minus 30 is 30. On the right side, 30 minus 30 is 0, so I just have the X. Then I'm going to subtract 0.6X from both sides of the equation. So I'm going to get 30 equals 1X minus 0.6X is 0.4X. So we finish solving for X by dividing both sides by 0.4. And we end up 30 divided by 0.4 is 75 milliliters of acid would need to be added into the solution to get it to be 60% acidic. All right, now the next part of the problem says how much acid would you have to add to make the solution 90% acidic. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the same equation right here. Instead of using the 0.6, we're going to use 0.9. So let's do that. 0.9 represents the 90% acid. We're going to have 30 plus X over 100 plus X. And we're going to solve it by cross multiplication. 0.9 times 100 is 90. 0.9 times X is 0.9X. That's going to equal 30 plus X. Subtract 30 from both sides, we get 60 plus 0.9X equals X. Subtract 0.9X from both sides, and we get 60 equals 0.1X. Finish up by dividing both sides by 0.1, and we get X equals 600. So we have to add 600 milliliters of acid in order to make this solution 90% acidic. The last thing we have to answer is, can it, meaning the solution, ever be 100% acid? So the solution can never be 100% acidic because, we'll say no, because of the original 70 milliliters of water.